what we're looking at now very clearly is this attempt to play that card of mass global immunization with a excuse of this manufactured virus to get access to the bodies, the body computer systems, as I would say, of almost everyone on the planet. And they're not doing that because they want to protect people from anything. Crikey, the force that's saying be vaccinated is the force that created the virus which they're saying be vaccinated against. They're doing this to get access to the global population for very, very malevolent reasons. And what people need to realize is that these families do not come from the same perspective of life and respect that we do. They see humans like cattle, nothing more than cattle, and most humans see cattle. They therefore have no empathy with the consequences for the human population of their actions. So if people say, they'd never do that, mate, no, you'd never do that. They do it all the time.
They are coming for you. They're coming for your children, and they're coming for you. And if we don't do something, then we deserve what we get. And that's how they see it. If we don't do something to stop them, we deserve it. And that's how they see it. That's their moral place they stand on. That if we're not smart enough or willing to take any risk or do anything to stop them, then we deserve it. That's the moral card they stand on.
There are strange facts surrounding the coronavirus outbreak of 2020. In 2018, the PureBright Institute was granted a patent for the coronavirus. The PureBright Institute is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. On October 18th of 2019, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with Johns Hopkins and the World Economic Forum, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic simulation in New York City. The simulation, which was held just 3 months ago, was based on the coronavirus. They concluded that it could kill 65 million people and decided the solution was to have a vaccine within months of an epidemic. The same week that the coronavirus makes headlines, Netflix releases the docu-series Pandemic: How to Prevent an Outbreak, wherein the solution is vaccines and the trusted hero is Bill Gates. Meanwhile, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation fund Inovio Pharmaceuticals, Inc. to develop a coronavirus vaccine. It's weird, right? Or am I just a conspiracy theorist?
So how close are we to actually having microchips implanted under our skin?
Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over.
Mark my words, huh? More like the mark of the beast.
You know, I'm not one to dogmatically say that absolutely the mark of the beast has arrived on the scene, but with the technologies that we're seeing, the RFID, people willingly getting implanted, and a push even in some places for maybe some forced implants very soon, I do think that that is right around the corner, brother. We could very well be on the horizon of that. Everything that we see that we now realize is evil, going back, you know, the Patriot Act, all of the NSA spying and everything. Listen, that was sold to us as we need this for safety.
The most incredible aspect of all, these totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality.
But here's the catch. One of these days, God forbid, Scotty, you defy, they find you guilty of something. And you go before a court. And they say, we're going to sentence you to prison? No. We're going to turn your chip off. And you don't exist. Everything. In fact, people are going to notice that when you walk up, they're going to say, who is this? you're not registering. You say, it's me. What do you mean, who is this? No, you're not showing up on this. You don't exist. If you think I'm kidding, this is Elba. This is like some type of a prison. And people are going to be, one of these days, enslaved by this chip that it will replace you.
Is that by around the year 2030, humanity will have their brains connected to artificial intelligence. And he's very open about it. As this goes on, artificial intelligence will do more and more of human thinking until human thinking as we know it now is basically negligible. In other words, you'll be a computer terminal on someone else's internet. And when you're born into the world as it is, you don't really have so much of a compass to get a fix on the world as it is, because it's just how it is. When you were born before it is as it is now, you have a compass, you have a comparison. You can see the scale, the stunning scale of the change, not least since this technological society kicked in and then went kind of on steroids.
What about this? 5G, an emerging technology upgrade that has many countries concerned about its impact on human health. Experts from all over the world warn of the dangers of 5G. In 2018, it was reported locally that Wuhan would be the testbed city for full 5G network operation in China. The article went on to say that it would be fully operational by 2020. And on Halloween of 2019, they turned it on. Scientists warn that 5G causes flu-like symptoms. Interesting? What is also interesting is that when trying to share the link of 5G being launched in Wuhan, Facebook blocks you from doing so because it violates their community guidelines.
All right, so I just want to talk about what Google puts in its results when you type in and search, when did 5G go live in Wuhan, China? Okay, it has this poster up at the top that basically links to a site known as Full Fact. Okay, and what they're pinning up here is this headline: the Wuhan coronavirus has nothing to do with 5G, and then dash full fact. So basically, the first thing they want you to see, Google, because this is their algorithm and this is what they're putting in your vision when you first, all you're searching is when did 5G go live in Wuhan, China, right? You didn't put nothing about coronavirus, but the first thing it pulls up is the Wuhan coronavirus has nothing to do with 5G, being promoted by a site known as Full Fact. Okay, now it says the claim is Wuhan is where 5G was rolled out first. It says claimed by a Facebook user, and then it has fact checked by Full Fact, as if this is some sort of reliable site that we're supposed to trust.
文亮医生死了。
This is businessman Fang Bing, who became well known for posting videos online of Wuhan, the city at the center of the coronavirus outbreak. His footage appears to show relatives mourning sick and dead loved ones in a Wuhan hospital. He was campaigning for people to speak out about the realities of the virus, accusing the Chinese government of a cover-up.
大家一定要行动起来，要传播，要把真相传播出去。 今天的肺炎，今天的武汉肺炎，既是天灾，也是人祸，更是人祸。
Fang Bing's account went quiet on the 7th of February. His last video was a piece of paper reading, "All citizens resist, hand power back to the people."
There are some stories, and I think that this is true, that the coronavirus is a U.S. patented virus. Now, why we have to patent a virus, I don't know. There are some stories that I think this is credible evidence that the virus was stolen from a lab that was doing research on bioweapons, and they were using this virus in that research. And there is some there is some evidence that that was stolen from the lab in Canada and taken to China. There is a bioweapons lab in Wuhan, China. So I think that's fairly substantiated by the things that I have read. And so is there a conspiracy theory to let this virus loose in China for population control and that kind of thing? Maybe. We know the Chinese are real big on population control. But could it be, and I don't know this, but could it be that the 5G radiation has started to break down DNA so that the body has less resilience to viruses that are in the atmosphere? Now, we believe, and I think that there's some credibility to this, that the virus that they were looking at in Canada had been quote unquote advanced, meaning they were seeing what kind of things could happen to this virus. And so as a human being, I have an immune system that is supposed to protect me from viruses. In and of itself, the coronavirus is not any different or not even as deadly as the flu. I mean, many medical professionals in the last 2 weeks have come out here in the United States on all different radio and TV channels and have said the flu is much more virulent than this coronavirus. What Dr. David Brownstein wants you to do. Now, David Brownstein is a medical doctor, but he has a holistic approach to his to the way he treats his patients. Now, he says that the coronavirus is nothing new. It has been with us a long time. Coronavirus can affect both animals and humans, and it is important to keep in mind that most coronaviral infections are mild. Within the last 2 decades, there were 2 serious coronavirus infections: severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, and Middle East respiratory system coronavirus, MERS, which had elevated death rates. Now, you will know, maybe you don't know, that the SARS virus, it was about 2003, 2004, it originated in Wuhan, China as well. So that leads me to believe that this biolab there may be a little bit responsible, because we know that bioweapons use viruses, and I don't know that we're getting all the information that we need to be getting from the Chinese government. I mean, I certainly am not getting it, and I don't know with the culture that we have right now that we can trust too many people to be telling us the truth.
This is my work ID. I work for Weill Cornell Medicine on 68th in York. I do comparative pathology research. We deal with biohazardous materials and radiation particles. We inject animals like rhesus monkeys, rats, and mice with diseases and radioactive agents. 2 weeks ago, when I went to work, I noticed the security guards were in Tyvek hazmat suits and they were armed, which is not normal, but I didn't pay it any mind. I go upstairs to work, I clock in. My boss is like, yo, listen, you're not needed, but we need you to surrender your Geiger counter. My Geiger counter was attached to my ID because we deal with radiation emissions in my department on the 7th floor, which is the only department that deals with radiation. But they wanted me to surrender my Geiger counter. When I left work, the only people that were left in my building's facility were the scientists, the professors, the researchers, and security guards that were armed. It's not the virus that's getting people sick. It's 5G network from the radiation. And the reason why they had me surrender my Geiger counter is so if I'm in a proximity of people that have 5G networks, my Geiger counter is going to detect that I'm in a proximity of radiation. That's what's getting people sick. That's what's getting people with respiratory issues. That's why some people are dying. Now, my homie works for Verizon. He got a message via email from corporate instructing him and his 100-man crew to pump 5G network cables throughout the tri-state area, whether buildings or houses were abandoned or not. The letter said, if your crew gets sick, we'll send them home and you keep on working. Don't worry. When they say that the oil is short, you'll be first dibs to get the oil.
The oil to care.
Exactly.
That's deep, bro. I'm glad you came on and told my audience that just now, because damn.
I've been trying to hit you up for a minute, man, cause shit is real. And niggas don't really know what's going on. They believe in what the media is telling them. Just understand, whatever the media is saying they're gonna do, they're not gonna do. They're telling you they're gonna give you $1,200 stimulus check for this money. How? When they say that the money is gonna be contaminated. Then they're gonna shut down the banks worldwide. How the fuck are you going to cash that check if you're quarantined and you can't leave and the banks are shut down? They're doing technology and manipulating the people to believe a big ass fucking lie.
That's a fact. I believe so too, bro. And a lot of people was not aware of 5G and the health benefits of it. 5G is game over. It's frying us. So it's just like in Wuhan when that's the first place they.
Just understand, whatever the media is saying they're gonna do, they're not gonna do.
That's a fact. I believe so too, bro. And a lot of people was not aware of 5G and the health benefits of it. 5G is game over. It's frying us. So it's just like in Wuhan when that's the first place they really rolled out 5G.
Exactly.
And I believe here it was New York City, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Because in New York, look at the rates going up of people with coronavirus.
Exactly.
Now how they diagnosing all these people when they say they ain't got no test?
That have the coronavirus?
Right or wrong?
Facts. Yo, you know what's crazy? The symptoms that they're saying is caused by this virus are the same exact symptoms from radiation contamination. They're talking about loss of taste, loss of smell, hair loss, vomiting, diarrhea. Pretty soon they're going to say a new symptom is blood in your stool and blood in your urine, constant parchness, that you'll have an unquenchable thirst because radiation boils the water molecules in your brain, in your respiratory tract, and in your reproductive system. So don't be surprised when this shit disappears and 10 years later it comes back, because that's what's going to happen. You're sterile and you can't produce. There was a movie called Children of Men or The City of Men.
Children of Men, right.
Where a war came out and for years no one was able to reproduce. But one woman gave birth to a baby and it changed the world. These niggas are literally acting out scripts from movies and fictional books to instill fear and in the media propaganda. Fear is the lowest vibration, and that also weakens your immune system. And when you're scared, the adrenochrome that's in your blood makes your blood pump faster, harder, and stronger, which is what the pedo bloodsuckers need in order to be young again. Which is why they're also saying that kids are getting infected and they're going to mandate or force inoculate the vaccine on niggas. The FDA takes 1.5 years to approve of a vaccine. Why within 3 months of the year, all of a sudden they have this vaccination ready to be mandated, forced on you, whether you say yes or no, they're going to...
You get it? It don't matter if the virus is real or not. The killer is the 5G. And it's coming. It's being installed behind our backs right now and fixing to go full blast into the schools and everywhere else while we're locked down at home. They want everybody at home because they don't want nobody to see what's going on. And they're going to have rules like you have to have permission to leave your house. You think that won't happen? You watch. Mark my words. That's what they're going to do. Because they want to know where you're going, the path you're taking, so that you won't be making sure you won't be going by and seeing something that they're doing. They're going to have everything controlled. In areas where they're doing their work, they're going to have a cop on one end and a cop on the other blocking the road so nobody can't go down through there. You think they won't do it? They're shutting down the world, man. They'll shut down the world, but they won't block off a school so you can't see. We need to wake up. We need to wake up.
Early evidence suggests that chloroquine, that's a cheap anti-malaria drug, may be effective in treating coronavirus. Gregory Regano is an advisor of the Stanford University School of Medicine, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Regano, thanks so much for coming on. So tell us what this is and why you think it's promising, please.
So the president has the authority to authorize the use of hydroxychloroquine against coronavirus immediately. He has cut more red tape at the FDA than any other president in history. And for example, in 2017, a new drug was approved for muscular dystrophy for a clinical trial that enrolled less than 15 patients and was generally uncontrolled in an open setting. Hydroxychloroquine has been on the market for over 50 years with a quality safety profile. And I am here to report a well-controlled, peer-reviewed study carried out by the most eminent infectious disease specialist in the world, Didier Raoult, MD, PhD, in which he enrolled 40 patients. Again, a well-controlled, peer-reviewed study that showed a 100% cure rate against coronavirus. The study was released this morning on my Twitter account, Regano ESQ, as well as our most recent website, covidtrial.io. The study was recently accepted to the International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents by Elsevier.
So I obviously, I only know what you're telling me. But I do know it's very unusual for a study of anything to produce results of 100%. I mean, that's remarkable, isn't it, or am I missing something?
That is remarkable. In fact, to be able to cure a virus was said to be mathematically impossible. And the first company that did it was a small biotech called Pharmasset that was acquired by Gilead Sciences in the cure to hepatitis C. What we're here to announce is the second cure to a virus of all time.
Well, that's remarkable. I mean, of course, it's our job to be skeptical of all and any claims. However, I very much want to believe this, and I think we need, obviously, immediately to run it down. The federal government needs to find out if this is true, because if it is, you know, that's the biggest news of this moment. So I'm so grateful that you announced that on this show, and I hope we're hearing a lot more about it very soon. Thank you so much for coming on.